Hello friends, in this video I would be answering a very common question that is asked in the ASM Orals, which is how would you take over as a master on board a ship? And I will also discuss various scenarios in which you need to take care of the special things. So let's get started. To remember all these points, it's better to just have a sequence in mind. So just imagine you're a master. You will always start with the office. In the office, there'll be some debriefing. You will have your opportunity to ask questions. And then the next two steps will be going on board and meeting the master. And after you have met him and clarified whatever you needed from him, you meet the crew members, your team. And finally, you make entries in the official logbook as required by the Merchant Shipping Act. So let's go into the details now. So when you are answering the surveyor, you may start with saying that prior joining the ship, I will take the debriefing from the company, in which the company will brief me about most of the things. But from my side, I will confirm the status of all the certificates and surveys, anything which is due, and any special instruction regarding the particular cargo or voyage. Then, as you are answering the surveyor, that once I have reached on board, I will start with the company approved, the SMS approved, handing over and taking over checklist. This is quite a safe statement to start the answer with, because every SMS is approved by the flag state. And if flag state has approved the checklist, then it covers most of the significant points. This point will also give an impression to the surveyor that even if you forget some points, you still would be referring to the handing over, taking over checklist, and thus it'll tell you everything. Then after reaching on board and introducing yourself to the master, the first thing you would want to check is statutory certificates, any surveys which are due, and any condition of class. After the statutory certificates, you may ask for the trading certificates. Trading certificates include certificate of registry, last port clearance, inward outward clearance, valid lighthouse dues, medicine chest inspection certificate, ship sanitary inspection certificate, also called DRATing or DRATing exemption certificate. Now that the ship certificates have been checked, next is your crew member certificate, and they must have all the certificates as required by the STCW and company SMS. So we have checked the ship certificate, we have checked the crew certificate. Next is cargo. So all the documents related to cargo must be checked, and these documents include charter party, any special instructions, any note of protest, bill of lading, stowage plan, cargo manifest, shipper's declaration, stability information booklet, grain authorization document if applicable, chain register. So basically anything you can remember as per the cargo, you can just keep talking about that. Now that all documents have been checked, next question is, where is the vessel going? Where do you need to take it as a master? So find out the details about the present voyage, ROB of the fuel oil, and provision requirement until the next port. And then details of the cash and provisions on board. So basically what you are trying to find out is if you can complete the next voyage, and if there is any challenge that is waiting for you. And with this, you are done with the master. It's time to start meeting your team. Here you can start with the chief engineer, that you will meet him and ask him for the bunker ROB, any requirement for the voyage, chemical gases, oil record book for the machinery space entries, condition of the engine room, and anything special that you must be aware of. With this, you are done with the engine room. Time to go to the deck and meet the chief officer. With chief officer, you are well aware of the basic points. Freshwater ROB, any requirement for the next voyage like paint, etc. Oil record book, if applicable for the deck, condition of cargo, cargo gears, general maintenance, and the stability condition of the ship. After chief officer, next in line is second officer, and you would confirm from him the chart and status of the updates, last notice to mariners received, nautical publications and their updating status, medicine chest and hospital, navigation equipments and their maintenance status, maneuvering booklet, and any requirement for the voyage. Then after second officer, it's time for third officer. Meet him and check the condition of LSA, FFA, muster list to be updated, any requirement for the voyage. And finally, meet the galley department, confirm from the chief steward, condition of galley and meat room, provision and bonded stores on board, and any requirement for the voyage. And then finally, take a round with the outgoing master on deck, accommodation, as well as engine room, checking the condition, maintenance, and the cleanliness of various areas. And once you have done this, you are ready to make entries in the official logbook. And the MSA dictates some specific entries that are to be made. So, as per MSA 208, make an entry in the official logbook of all the certificates, including stability information. It's a requirement as per MSA 298. And then you write that you have taken over, and then same is signed by both the masters. Then there is another entry that you need to make in the official logbook and deck logbook. And in that you state that vessel lies safely afloat at the time of handing over, taking over at mentioned place with ROB cash, fuel oil, fresh water, and draft forward and aft. This entry is to be signed by both the masters. Now that you have officially taken over, you need to get the certificate of registry endorsed that a new master has taken over. As per MSA 37, you need to go with the article of agreement and certificate of registry to the principal officer MMD or Indian consular officer to get the name endorsed. However, there was a superseding notice, MS Notice 16 of 2002, after which the master was not required to be personally present for endorsement. Anybody on his behalf could do it in a duplicate copy, and then the endorsed copy is sent on board within 1 month. Hopefully, these days the companies are getting it done, but old surveyors still expect you to remember all these procedures. Okay guys, so far this was the basic procedure that you must remember. Then it's time for some tricky questions or some tricky surveyors who expect certain answers. So there was a surveyor who expects that as you are joining the ship, you check the draft marks, the condition of cable, and if you are joining via launch boat, you want to find out the attitude of officer. So are they lowering a life vest when you're about to climb up the gangway from the launch boat? And when you are walking into the accommodation, are you looking at the condition of LSA, FFA, fire line, crew PPE? And then there was a particular surveyor who expects you to know what will you check as you enter the accommodation. And this was a particular question for tankerman. So the answer is that there must be positive accommodation pressure. So no air is going inside, only coming out of the door. Then another particular question was, what will you do when you join a ship and there is a PSC inspection going on? So at that moment, you can just say that, sir, I will assist the master who is currently in command with whatever I can. Surveyor in this case wanted to find out the attitude of the candidate, whether he's trying to run away from the duty or will he participate. Then another tricky question I've seen is, if you're joining as a master on a ship that has been laid up for 4 months, what will you do? And the surveyor may further trick you by giving you a certain location, like if you're in Japan or you're in Spain or Indian coast, what will you do? So far I believe it's just about the certificates that it has been laid up. So I will confirm if all the certificates are valid and if any survey is due. So guys, finally I summarize. There are 3 parts to it. One is office visit. You will be debriefed, you will be given a letter, you go on board, you may ask your questions about the various certificates and the surveys which are due. Then you go on board, you meet the master, introduce yourself, hand over the letter. Then you check the certificates, statutory certificates, then the trading certificates, then the cargo related certificates and crew related certificates. And once the certification part is done, you start meeting your team. And it's very easy to remember who all are part of your team as you're already at this level. Then after you have met everyone, then it's time to again meet the master and take a round. Then make logbook entries. As per MSA, there'll be 2 entries. Article 208 and 298. You will make entry in the official logbook of all the certificates and the condition of stability. And then another entry mentioning that the vessel lies safely afloat and the time of handing over and the ROB of fresh water and other stuff on board. And then both these entries are to be countersigned by both the masters. And after taking over, as per MSA 37, get the certificate of registry endorsed by the council officer or the principal officer at the MMD. Okay, guys, I hope this was a useful video for you. If you have any suggestion, feedback, or comment, then please write down below. I thank you for watching. All the best for the exam. And just for your information, I will be making more videos related to master's role to implement ISM, etc. So keep a lookout.